Hello, this is Sonny Melendrez, and I have a question for you. Is it too early for a Christmas song?
When the leaves begin to fall and a chill is in the air, then I think of going home for the holidays. When the pumpkins everywhere show their strange familiar stare, then I think of going home for the holidays. Soon the Santas all appear in their funny rented suits, and I think of going home for the holidays. Thoughts of family fill my heart, and I know that I will start making plans to go home for the holidays. Though I hardly ever call just to say how much I care, there's no question it never leaves my mind. It's the one place I can be the unencumbered me. So I'll hurry home when the snow starts falling. Though it's never quite the same as it was when I was young, still I love to go home for the holidays. There are faces who are there, and too many empty chairs, yet I want to go home for the holidays. Never the holidays. There are faces who aren't there, and too many empty chairs. Yet I love to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home for the holidays, for the holidays, for the holidays.
That was the voice of Katchie Cartwright, with alto saxophone by Rich Oppenheim, Aaron Prado on piano, and George Prado on bass, and an original song titled Home for the Holidays, written by my guest today. Don't go away now. We're about to visit the home of Linda Kaufman.
Sonny Melendrez, Sonny Radio, sonnyradio.com.
Hello, hello. It's Sonny Melendrez, and you've arrived at the intersection of entertainment and inspiration. This is the Sonny Melendrez Show, and today we are actually on location at the home of a dear friend of ours. My wife, Linda, is with me. And tell them where we are.
We are at the home of our dear friend, playwright, award-winning songwriter, Linda Kaufman.
Linda, you look great. You didn't know which one I was talking to, did you?
No. Because together we are the Lindas.
There you go. Linda Kaufman, it's just a joy to be here. And, you know, we have shared many moments with you. And Linda, why don't you tell them how we met and also what we did with Linda, a big production.
Yes, we had the privilege of participating in Linda's original play, Senior Moments, which she wrote, and it was a blast. I mean, we did it 2 years ago at the JCC, and it was a wonderful experience for both of us. Linda writes the most marvelous songs, and the script was phenomenal, and I still believe she's going to win a Tony Award for this. She's now taken it all over the country. You've got to see it wherever you are in the world.
From your lips to God's ears.
There you go. Well, Linda, welcome to your home.
Thank you. I love my home.
Nice to have you here. How did you know, and at what age did you know that this is what you wanted to do? You wanted to be a songwriter, you wanted to play music and create music and make people happy. When did that happen?
Which should I answer? I always wanted to make people happy. And I took piano lessons from the time I was 8 years old. Because in those days, when your parents said something, that's the way it was. And my dad said, "Oh, I've signed you up for piano lessons. You're going to take from the time you're 8 till you're 16, so don't bring it up again." And so that's how it was. And by the time I got out of high school, I found out there was money in piano playing. I got a job working at a ballet studio on a Saturday, because this is before there were CDs and tapes, and the music wasn't difficult. And way back in the 50s, I was earning like $6.50 an hour.
Ooh,
I mean,
wow.
I had more cashmere sweaters than you could shake a stick at. That was the size of my vision at the time.
That's incredible.
But I never thought of writing a tune until at age 52. After I'd lost my husband, I moved to Los Angeles as a widow, and I found out that everybody in my building was somehow involved with the movie business or the music production business. So I set off to take a screenwriting class, never got the hang of it, but wound up coming up with an idea for a stage play, which was based on the book of Esther in the Bible, which years later actually opened in the San Pedro Playhouse, and it was called Estorella, and that project is still alive and ticking. I'm hoping to see it as an animated film in the close future.
I'm sure you will, and we know we've heard so much about Estorella and heard some of the music from it as well. I want to ask you about your current project right now, because you've been all over the country.
Yeah, that's because I have ADD. I can't sit in one spot.
Is that like the Auto Club?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's like I just told your wife, I always thought I was just creative. That's why I couldn't stay on task, but now I find I have a disease. But whatever, it works. The project of Senior Moments.
Yes.
This was the easiest thing I ever wrote. My husband was in California visiting his twin sister. They were both in their 90s, and I thought, oh my, when am I ever going to be involved in theater again? And I started thinking of what could I write about. And my husband is the best straight man that ever was. And so I just started really turning into little scenes with songs, some of the things that I'd watched him say or do. And then it's like when you buy a blue car, everywhere I went was a new scene and a new melody. The melodies would come to me in the car when I was driving. I'd come home, write it down. It took me like 20 minutes to write the scene, and I went on with making dinner. It was incredibly easy to do.
Isn't that something?
It is.
You hear that so much from brilliant artists who will tell you that they wrote it on a napkin or something,
Yes.
And apparently that happened with you.
It's just, I always think of what I heard Lionel Richie say once. He knows that when he has to write songs for a new album, he said, I get in a convertible and I drive from Los Angeles to San Francisco. By the time I've gotten there, I've got all the songs I need. And he said, I don't even really consider myself a songwriter. I just open myself up, and I'm a channel for those songs. They kind of come through me to get to my listeners.
Great
And that's
way.
how I feel about Senior Moments.
Yeah.
It was, for lack of a better way of calling it, it's a God project. And the most enjoyable part of it is watching people enjoy it.
And they
know,
do.
they
As they
do.
say, it plays in Peoria.
Not as well as in San Antonio.
No, you have standing room only at all the performances here.
And
Now-
standing ovations.
And standing ovations, exactly.
Right. Well, about 3,500 people have already seen it. I've already had 5 productions since we started in August of 2016, and it's going to open up in New York on December 13th, which is my 81st birthday.
Wow.
And going to run 4 or 5 shows there, 2
How
weekends.
beautiful. How
Isn't that
beautiful.
amazing?
Well, speaking of senior moments, one of my favorite songs is called The Power of a Dream. Would you mind playing it for us?
I'd love to play it, but I'm going to warn you, I'm not a singer, but I'll do the best I can.
Here's Linda Kaufman and The Power of a Dream.
There are times when you're alone, you start imagining a life so very different from your own. You close your eyes, there you are on center stage. The spotlight shines on you and you alone. The power of a dream, the places it can take you, believing in that dream can either make or break you. You hold on to the picture that lingers in your mind. You play the reruns daily, enjoying every line. The power of a dream, the heights that you can rise to, believing in that dream will startle and surprise you. You'll be covered with stardust, anointed with oil. There's nothing can stop you now if you keep on believing in the power of a dream. Sometimes you look around you, the picture's almost gone. You hardly can remember, and yet the dream lives on. It seems the dream that fills you is not just yours alone. There was someone else before you whose dream is now your own. The power of a dream, the longing that consumes you, the waiting seems so long, and still the dream eludes you. But then without a warning, the brass rings finally yours, all because
I love that song.
We've heard it so many times, and each time it just gives you goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about how that song came about. In 1995, my husband and I were in Boston in the winter, if you can imagine, because his daughter and son-in-law had gone to Hawaii, and we were home with their teenage children. And I had read everything I brought with me. There was a coffee table book called Just Farr Fun, and it was actually the autobiography of Jamie Farr from MASH, right?
Sure.
And in it, at the closing of the book, there was the line, "Never underestimate the power of a dream." He had left home at age 17, and his goal was to star in a Broadway musical. And at age 60, he was cast as Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls. I literally got up. I never had to think about it. I just went to the piano and I sang it, and I had the words, the melody, the chords, and then I've never known what to do with it. So I finally made a spot for it in Senior Moments.
Beautiful. And you didn't have to drive to San Francisco.
That's right.
Save
We're going a
gas.
convertible in Boston in February.
with a baby grand
I'm not
piano.
that committed.
Yeah.
You should be committed.
Yeah, I should be.
You talked about different things in your life, and this play kind of wrote itself. There's one line, and I want you to talk about it. You were in an assisted living home, and what happened?
Well, this was during the time that I was writing the show, and I sell real estate for a living, and I had sold a home for an older gentleman who moved to a very lovely senior community. He invited me and my husband for dinner. My husband is rather hard of hearing, and once I sat down, I realized so was everybody else at the table. As soon as I sat down, the lady across from me, a resident, said, "Oh my, you look just like my first husband." And I said, "You mean you were married to an overweight Jewish woman?" And she said, "Yes, that's it exactly." And that's what I said. I just wrote things down. When the show was just about to open, and as I mentioned, my husband is a twin. He has a twin sister who lives in Los Angeles. A lady came up to me in the hall, and she said, "Oh dear, we're so excited with your show opening. Is anybody in your family going to come to town?" And I said, "Yes, my husband's twin sister is coming in." She said, "Oh, are they identical twins?" I said, "No, he's taller." So if you've got an ear for comedy or for anything else, it's out there. Just listen.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, your inspiration really travels near and far, and we're so thrilled to not only know you, but also to be able to share your story and your music here on KLUP. You're going to do another song for us. Tell us about it.
Okay, well, this song I wrote specifically for Senior Moments, but my husband is always saying he wants everybody to have a perfect life. And I said, Al, a perfect life is not one where no tragedy happens, no bad things happen. It's a life that's filled with inspiration and the ability to get up and keep going, even when things don't go the way you think they should or you want them to. And that's why this song was written, and it's called A Life Well Lived. Because in the end of it, it says, a life well lived is the perfect life, not just a perfect life where nothing happens except what you want to happen. So I hope you'll enjoy it.
And now the world radio premiere of A Life Well Lived, Linda Kaufman.
A life well lived is what I tried for. A life my children could be proud of through the years. A life that walked through every door that seemed the right one, though sometimes what I thought was there just disappeared. A life well lived is what I strive for. A life that's filled with dreams still waiting to come true. I told myself that life is good, especially when things weren't working as they should. When hard times came and things went wrong, I tried to keep a smile in place until they passed. something inside told me for sure that brighter days would come to me at last. No guarantees does life provide. All we can do is follow what we feel inside. Enjoy the ride. Your life will be a well-lived life is a perfect life for me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's so true.
Unbelievable.
So true.
Linda, most people, and I hope you'll take this the right way, but most people who reach your age would retire, be on a rocking chair. You're just getting started.
I am.
What gives you that energy?
I don't know. It's these crazy dreams that I have that I want to see Estorella as an animated film. I've been actually stalking the fellow who's the director and writer of Coco, which I thought was a beautiful
we love
film. And I finally went on Twitter, and I see he's on Twitter, but I have no idea how to say, hey, I'm over here. I have this great line. If I ever get to talk to him, I'm going to tell him, hey, would you let a 80-year-old Jewish grandmother take you out to lunch and pitch you a great idea for a movie?
What is his name?
His name is Lee Unkrich, Unkrich. If there's anybody out there who knows him,
right,
call me. I'll give you my number.
He'd be thrilled
Yes.
to produce.
I've heard
Estorella.
him on Terry Gross talking about the film and just saying how he's a Jewish guy in his early 50s. He and his wife have 3 children. And the partner that he worked on for this film has introduced so many of the beautiful Mexican ways of celebrating their dead, that Jewish people are always crying and moaning, and instead of celebrating the life of the person. And I just love the way he talked. He said when he was doing this movie, he had time in between, and his father was dying, and he had time to go home and spend time with him. And he said how much that meant to him. So Lee, I'm waiting to hear from you, or you're waiting to hear from me.
You never know. Plus, we're on the web around the world.
That's
He could be
right.
listening right now.
Yeah. For a good time, call Linda.
You've been listening to Linda Kaufman here on AM 930 KLUP, the answer to all your problems. I'm Sonny Melendrez, along with
Linda Melendrez.
and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.